Hello, I'm Dr. Tom Warren and you're watching The Plant Doctor. What I want to go over today is pre-emergence for zoysia grass. It is mid-February here. We're going to do our late winter pre-emergent application. I want to talk about 3 different pre-emergents that I use throughout the year. We're going to talk about adding some post-emergence to our pre-emergence, when to do this, when to not do this. I'm going to show you how I mix my tanks, and I'm going to show you how I put the pre-emergence down. Pre-emergence can come in liquid form, like I have here in front of me, or if you have a smaller lot and you're not doing tens of thousands of square feet, maybe what you could do is use the granular form. So granular form, you can put it in a drop spreader, and a lot of them, like Scott's, they come with a dial on them. And if you look on the bag, it'll tell you what number to put the dial on, and you just spread it. It's automatically calibrated for you, and that's really good. I use liquid form, and mainly because I do my yard, and I have a relative that lives next door, and I do their yard as well, and you add it all up, it's about 25,000 square feet of turf. What we're going to put down today is pendimethalin. Normally what I would put down this time of year is prodiamine, and they're both pre-emergents. They act the same way. The reason I have pendimethalin is during the pandemic I could not find prodiamine anywhere, and I know lots of people in the industry. I made phone calls and they're like, we don't have it, we don't know when we're getting it, but we can get pendimethalin. Pendimethalin does a good job, but when you're using it, when you're mixing your tanks, make sure you wear gloves, or wear gloves with all this stuff, but in particular pendimethalin, because it will stain. It'll get on your hands. Wear old clothes, it'll get on your clothes. It'll stain a driveway. It'll come out of a driveway because UV light will actually break this down over time. But be very careful using this product. Plus it smells a little funny too. Prodiamine doesn't stain as bad, doesn't smell. So I like prodiamine a little bit better in that regard. The third pre-emergent that I use is simazine. I use simazine in the fall because we get some pre and post emergent with poana grass on simazine, so I like using that one in the fall. But today we'll put down the pendimethalin. We're going to do a split application of pendimethalin. So it's mid-February. Our soil temperatures are getting up in the 50-degree range, which means it's time for us to put down some fertilizer, or excuse me, it's time to put down some pre-emergence. You can go on the USDA website, or you can just Google USDA soil temperature map, and I think you can type in your zip code or zoom in on the map, and it'll tell you the soil temperature in your area. So as you approach 50 degrees for soil temp, you need to start thinking about putting pre-emergence down on your zoysia grass. So we can put down 1.8 ounces per 1,000 per year with this particular pendimethalin. Always check your labels. This is Framework 3.3. There'll be different concentrations, but for Framework 3.3, we can do 1.8 ounces per 1,000 per year. So we're going to split that in half. We're going to do 0.9 ounces of pendimethalin, and 6 weeks later, so it's mid-February now, so first part of April, we're going to come back and we're going to do another 0.9 of this, and this extends our control of the pre-emergence, helping keep the weeds out of the grass. And so I'm going to walk you through that process. If your yard has weeds in it right now, it's mid-February and you are wanting to put down pre-emergence, but you're already seeing weeds, the pre-emergence will help knock back the weeds that have not germinated yet. But what you can do, if you've got some of those pesky winter weeds, like you've got chickweed and henbit and some of those others that are all too prevalent in our area, you can put some Trimec in the tank. I do this anyway as precautionary. We're going to be putting out 1 gallon per 1,000, so the concentration will be 9/10 of an ounce for the pendimethalin and about 3/4 of an ounce for the Trimec. In your second application, I want to be abundantly clear, do not put Trimec down on zoysia grass or Bermuda grass during green up. You're going to delay your green up period. You won't have full lush green grass until June or July. You're going to retard that growth. So this time of year we can get away with this. Here again in February, you can put the Trimec in the tank with your pre-emergence and you're going to be fine. You're not going to have any issues with the green up. That second application that we want to do going into April, when my grass starts to green up here, it would be a problem. So if you've got weeds and you need to control them, right now is the time to do that. However, this will not control poana grass. I've got one little area in the yard. I've got a little bit of poa, and what I'm going to do is mix up some image. I did a video on image. I'll try to leave a link up here above if you want to check that out. It does a really good job with controlling small areas of poa. It's a little expensive when you do the math on it per thousand. I don't want to broadcast spread that over the whole yard, but it is very good for spot spraying. So let's turn the camera around. I'm going to walk you through how to fill up the tank. I'm going to walk you through how I spray the yard, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've been putting a little bit of water in this off of camera for a minute or two now, and we can see here at the bottom, I don't know if it shows up on camera or not, but you can see about where the water is right now. So I'm going to fill this up roughly a quarter of the way full, and then what we're going to do is go ahead and I'm going to kink this hose off. And we're going to go ahead and start putting some pre-emergent into our tank. And so I need roughly 6 more. And I have a measuring cup I use strictly for pendimethalin and prodiamine because it'll stain really bad, the measuring cup. I got another measuring cup I'll use other chemicals for. But it just stains. Sometimes it'll stain it so bad you got to throw these away because you can't read the numbers on them. So just keep that in mind, because this stuff will stain. All right, and there's another 6 right there. So that is the correct amount of ounces for 25 gallons. So we're going to finish topping off our tank, and then I'm going to show you how I spray it. Okay, I don't know if this is going to show up on film or not, but right there is the 25 gallon mark on my tank, and if I shake it, you can see the water right there at the 25 gallon mark. So we're going to put the lid on. And one thing that you need to do before you spray anything is, if you're using liquid application like we're doing today, you need to calibrate your sprayer. So just put like 5 gallons of water in it, mark out 5,000 square feet in your yard, and spray back and forth until you get the timing right to where the tank will empty right as you're completing that 5,000 square feet. Then you know you're putting out a gallon per thousand. So always calibrate your sprayer. So the way I've got my sprayer calibrated is, I know on this particular mower, we're going to move this setting here. It's a little transmission setting. We're going to put it on trim. That's the slowest setting for this. And I'm just going to barely move forward with it. And that'll put me at about 1 gallon per thousand. And we've already mixed up at 0.9 per gallon. So we'll be putting out 0.9 ounces of pendimethalin per 1,000 square feet. So I'm going to walk you over to the yard. I'm going to show you how we're going to spray it, and we'll go from there. So this is the yard that we're going to spray. It's actually right next door to me. This is a relative of mine, and I do their chemical form on the yard. And you can see here it looks really good. There's no weeds in it. All we've been doing is putting down pre-emergent on it. And so how do you start? Well, you want to start by what we call a cleanup lap. You want to go all the way around the perimeter of the grass. So we'll just follow the concrete, and then we'll follow that bed line over there, and then we'll follow the edge of the road and come back up the driveway right here. Once you have that lap complete, then we can start going back and forth across the yard, equal distribution of product You don't want to overlap. You don't want to get too much on a section. You don't want to skip. That's very important. So we're going to spray this yard, and for 6 weeks we'll have weed control. So one thing I should mention after you spray is if you're not expecting rain within 48 hours, you will want to water this in. It will work so much better if you water it in. So keep that in mind. We're expecting rain here in the next couple days. I'm not going to water this in. I'm going to keep my irrigation system on this yard in winter mode right now. There's no need to turn it on. So if you can time your pre-emergence like 24 to 48 hours before rain, that's the best thing. One more thing I want to show you is if you're using this sprayer application, and you want to know you're getting equal distribution, when you go over a water meter, just look. See how that's evenly wet right there? I hope that shows up on film. That's telling me we're getting a good spread. It's not spotty. We're getting excellent control on this. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor. And until next time, happy gardening.